Welcome to Casey's Ice Cream Parlor, the podcast where we recap every single Sweet Valley Twins book in the series. I'm Paula and I'm here with Rich.
Hello.
This week we are recapping book number 8, First Place.
Will Elizabeth risk everything for a horse?
Everything. Literally everything.
Everything. I feel like this is the one podcast episode where we've talked so much about this that you don't have to say the tagline, because I think I've said it so many times recently.
Yeah, one of our listeners on Instagram, Waterware, said she could hear you saying it in her head. So, yeah, obviously, well, we should have done this one last week, but I had no voice.
You lost your voice.
It's back now. I might sound a little bit hoarse.
You're sounding good. Was that a joke?
Get
well
it?
done. Well done. I see what you did there.
Been waiting to say that.
I'm a bit like, I'm tired and out of it today, and it took me that split second to get that one. But yeah, I'm with you.
So, the cover of this book, ours is purple in the UK.
It is.
In America, it's sky blue, I think someone said.
Oh, okay. And then I used the green one.
Yeah, I've got a green one as well.
Yeah.
And it's got Lila on the front with her horse Thunder.
And her flat face.
And her flat face, which you commented just now. Her face does look flat on
Do
this
you think?
cover.
I think it looks quite flat,
yeah, it
actually.
does.
I think
Compared
it actually does.
to Elizabeth, who's standing next to her.
Elizabeth is clearly in the third dimension.
Yeah, Elizabeth is standing behind her in the classic standing behind people pose.
In the classic Elizabeth standing behind someone looking judgy as fuck pose.
Yeah, holding a riding crop, and she is looking... Judgy. Somebody on Instagram, who was it? Hold on. Yeah, Gem Loves Books 1984 said she looks like she might do some damage with that riding crop.
Yeah, she kind of does look like she might be considering murder.
And Jolie Char said she really does have an expression like she wants to shove it where the sun don't shine.
Yeah, she really does. Unfortunately, for most of this book, she doesn't act on her feelings and thoughts.
No. On the back of the book, it says, some people have all the luck. Lila Fowler, the snobbiest girl in Sweet Valley Middle School, has gotten her own beautiful horse, and she doesn't seem to care. Elizabeth Wakefield thinks it's not fair. Elizabeth absolutely adores horses, so much that she'll go as far as pretending to be friends with snotty Lila. She'll even do all of Thunder's grooming, just for the chance to ride him every day. Elizabeth's behaviour makes her own twin sister Jessica furious. Jessica accuses Elizabeth of trying to steal her best friend away. And that's not all Elizabeth is doing. She's deceiving everyone at the stable and is making trouble for her closest friend Amy. Just how far will Elizabeth go before she loses everything, all for the love of a horse? Everything. Can
I just correct the back of this book as well?
Yeah.
It says, some people have all the luck. I think that should be some people have all the wealth. Because it's not luck that she got a horse, is it?
No, and it's not like Elizabeth's hard done by, is it?
No, exactly. They're all pretty well off. But if we're talking about this horse, Lila didn't get the horse through luck. She got it through enormous wealth. Anyway, let's find out how far Elizabeth will go. Yeah. In risking things for a horse.
Will she lose everything, like her home, her family?
Will she risk everything? Let alone not even lose. Will she even risk everything? How much will she actually risk for a horse?
We begin with Mr. Nidick droning on about the ancient Greeks, and Jessica slips Liz a note saying he knows all about it because he was there.
Hilarious.
And, yeah, they think this is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
We get the description of them. We're told the sunlight was casting a warm glow on their long blonde hair.
Lovely.
It also mentions the blue-green eyes, dimples in the left cheeks, and the mole on Liz's right shoulder. I'm not sure if we've had that yet in the twins.
The mole?
The mole on the right
shoulder.
No,
I did think when I was reading it, I think this is the first time that the mole has come up.
The mole has appeared.
Yeah.
Elizabeth hasn't been paying attention in class because she's been drawing all over her pad. She's been drawing horses all over it. She's just obsessed.
This is like... Right, she might have been doing this since the first twins book. Maybe she has. But it honestly feels like in the last book, suddenly Elizabeth is all about horses. And like before then, there was no mention of it. Now, room full of posters of horses, lockets of horses, drawn all over her books with horses. Like Elizabeth really likes horses now, okay?
She's as obsessed with horses as I am about Sweet Valley High.
Yeah, but like overnight. Like if it was
Yeah.
just like an overnight thing, and then one day you were like, I'm all about Sweet Valley High now.
So after the class, they collapse in giggles because, that note was so fucking funny.
Oh yeah, it was like the funniest thing that's ever happened.
And then Jessica does an impression of Mr. Nidick squint and stammer, and then they literally double over.
Yeah.
It's not very nice, is it?
No, it's not very nice.
Elizabeth says she needs to go because she's got her first horse riding lesson.
Yeah, so she's actually got proper lessons, I guess. Ned put the money together.
And then they notice a commotion around Lila's locker.
Yeah, she's surrounded by girls.
Liz asks why Lila's so popular all of a sudden. It's like we're always told how popular Lila is.
I have the same note. I was
not
like,
all of a sudden, is it?
Why is that like a new thing? Like she's part of the Unicorn Club, which is like the most popular girls in Sweet Valley can be in.
Jessica says all the girls just want to ride Lila's new horse. And Elizabeth feels strange, it says.
Yeah.
Like, you don't feel strange, you feel jealous. That's what this emotion is called.
Yeah, it's called jealousy, yeah.
Lila waves Jessica over, and Jessica tells her that Liz is off to a riding lesson.
Yeah.
And Lila's like, oh, I had to go to a few of those. What a pain.
Yeah, and I was like, why do you have a horse if you don't intend on riding it? But then, of course, I quickly realised it's just for popularity, basically.
Yeah, just because she can.
Because she can, yeah.
And then Lila bids her groupies farewell, and she thanks one of them, Melissa McCormack, for doing her maths homework. She tells her she can come over at the weekend and ride Thunder.
Oh!
So it's obvious she's sort of...
She's using the horse for everything. Popularity, homework. Basically, she's bribing all of the girls with being able to ride Thunder.
Yeah. She tells Jess she doesn't even know half of these girls, but she may never have to do her own homework again.
Yeah.
And Jessica says you won't have any time to ride Thunder yourself at this rate.
Yes, but Lila doesn't care about riding Thunder.
No, she just cares about owning him, and that's it.
She makes it quite clear. She says that riding's fun for a bit. And she also mentions that she's just really pissed off that horses are, living sentient beings that need looking after and feeding, basic nutrition and grooming. It's just annoying.
Yeah, she says yuck.
Yeah.
She also says the creepy stable boys at the stable have no class.
Yeah, now, I don't know horse riding or horse
I don't either.
Maintenance.
I have to admit.
So I was confused here, and I guess people can probably correct us or correct me because it's probably me I don't understand. But I was like instantly like, wouldn't the stable boys feed and groom horses? Wouldn't that be like your job as a stable boy? Maybe it's not. But I was immediately like, why is this... Like, I would have thought they would be looking after the horse. But I don't know. Apparently not in this book anyway, because Lila has to do it herself.
Some of the horses might be owned by...
Yeah, I guess maybe it depends on the deal you've got with your stable boys.
You'd think they'd have the best deal, though, the Filers.
Yeah, like, that's what I thought. I was like, surely these stable boys would be feeding and grooming him anyway. Unless they probably... Well, they probably, like, actually, we probably shouldn't feed and groom, because that's probably half the fun of having a horse. But, of course, Lila doesn't want to do anything to do with the horse. She just wants this trophy horse to have,
The stable boys might just be there for the horses owned by the stable, because they give lessons to kids and stuff, don't they?
Ah, yes.
So they feed and groom those ones, and then the stables that they hire out.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually. Well, in any
quite
case,
a boring conversation.
This is quite boring.
I genuinely want to know now.
I'm genuinely curious. But we will find out soon just how, quote, creepy these stable boys are.
And then Lila changes the subject to a new necklace that her father's bought her. Apparently it was made for her yellow silk blouse.
Yeah, she's got a necklace bought for a specific blouse.
And also, like, a 12-year-old wearing a silk blouse.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Secondly, a yellow silk blouse.
Yeah.
Jessica is amazed that Lila cares about her horse so little.
Yeah, I'm not amazed.
No, I'm not either.
And Jessica knows Lila better than any of us, so...
Elizabeth arrives home after her riding lesson, and then there's this really weird bit. I don't know how much of this you've written down, but we get like a really OTT description of how great Sweet Valley is when she's on the way home.
Yeah, I didn't make a note of it, but
ages.
it did go on for ages.
And it says, it actually says, like, the air is filled with the wonderful scent of flowers throughout all of the year.
Yeah.
And it just goes way over the top.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous.
Stephen asks if she's bow-legged yet, and she says, well, at least I'm not skin-headed.
Yes, apparently Stephen's had a controversial new short haircut.
Yeah, and he didn't want the haircut.
No.
I think the barber has gone a bit crazy.
The barber went a bit crazy, yeah.
And that comment hit him where it hurt.
Yes, apparently so. He's not happy.
There was always like some kids in the school was like that clearly happened to, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did that happened to you?
Yeah, it happened to me. I like barbers in general always go a bit too far.
It always happens to me with my fringe.
Yeah, they're always like, you're always like, can you just take this off? And then they keep talking and just keep doing it. But I never have the I could never get the confidence to tell them to stop, so they just keep doing it, and I'm like, oh, okay. They just keep talking and cutting more. It's like, whatever. It always
happens with my fringe, but now short fringes are really in fashion. I like them, so I don't care.
Oh, okay, so it's not so bad now.
But a few years ago, it used to be a disaster. It's like, just don't cut it so short.
Just stop. But anyway, speaking of hair, it's time to talk about Amy's hair.
So, yeah, Amy is there. She's waiting for Liz to work on their book project.
Yes, indeed. She's waiting there with her stringy hair.
And Elizabeth starts gushing to Alice about how great her lesson was, and apparently Amy's just not interested.
No. Amy has like zero interest at all in what her friends are up to.
So they head upstairs to get on with the project.
Yes, and you want to talk about overlong descriptions. Elizabeth's room is it's all about horses now.
So in her room she's got a framed photo of the greatest horse of all time, Man of War, a poster of some horses on a beach above her bed, and next to the bed an open copy of National Velvet. Yeah,
she came in and just like one day she just tore down all those Johnny Buck posters. They all went out the window. And now it's all just horses. It's horses this week. Oh my God,
I saw somebody on Facebook yesterday saying they'd only just realised, and I hadn't realised this at all, that Johnny Buck is like a homage to Johnny Cash.
Oh
like
my
Buck
God.
And Cash.
I never thought about that, because I never thought of him as like a country singer guy. I always saw him as like Justin Bieber in my head. But yeah, of course.
I think it might just be the name. But
no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I'd never thought about it. I never thought about it.
Yeah, somebody in the Sweet Valley Book Club Facebook group posted that. That's a really good group. You should join it.
I will join it.
You're already in it. I'm not talking to you.
I'll unjoin,
talking to the listeners,
and then rejoin it.
So we're also told Amy's got stringy hair, like you said, and an athletic build.
Athletic build, yeah.
And then Jessica asks what Liz's book report is about, and Elizabeth, of course, says,
what do you think it's
National
about?
Velvet.
It's about
fucking
horses.
Everything's about horses. And Jessica says, mine's on that too.
Yeah, of course.
Can I take a look at yours?
Mine's on whatever randomly specific thing that yours is about.
And then Jessica tells them that Lila doesn't really care about her horse. And Liz gloomily says, she probably doesn't even take care of it. And then she thinks to herself, if anyone deserves a horse, it's me.
Yeah, because Elizabeth...
How entitled.
I know, A, how entitled, and B, you've liked horses for about a week.
Yeah, why do you deserve
one?
Oh,
I deserve one because I've wanted one all week.
The next day at lunch, Liz is stuck on a good headline for a story.
Yes, she's running late with her story for the Sixers, so she's working through her lunch break.
It's about a teacher who liked to take hot air balloon trips on weekends.
Yeah.
How high a salary are these teachers paid?
Yeah, every weekend I like to take an air balloon. Yeah.
Like certainly is in the UK. It's very expensive to take a hot air balloon flight.
They're like £200, right? Or something like that, or £150 a trip.
But yeah, this teacher apparently...
every weekend.
Does it on weekends, and Elizabeth's writing a story about it.
I think that this was done so that the author could make the following hilarious pun, but we'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah. So she hears Lila ordering the lunch lady to take the cream sauce off of her chicken breast because she doesn't want to develop cellulite at her age. And then suddenly she thinks of the headline.
Yes.
Going places with hot air.
Going places with hot air.
That's shit. I don't even
It
get
is rubbish, yeah. It's rubbish. This is Sixers, though. What do you expect?
I expect more.
You expect better from your 6th grade paper.
I expect better from this 12-year-old. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Come on, Elizabeth.
Well, everyone blows smoke up her ass and they tell us how great a writer she is all the time, but there is no real evidence of that.
And Lila comes over and she sits at the end of Elizabeth's table. And then suddenly the table becomes swamped with girls asking about Thunder.
Yes, yeah. And Liz, is frustrated and realises, she can't concentrate anymore. She's going to go somewhere else.
And Lila's like, oh, am I disturbing you? In a voice that makes it obvious that she doesn't care.
Yeah, yeah.
And Elizabeth says, I'm just working on the Sixers, but I'll just move tables. And Lila suddenly becomes really polite.
I wonder why.
She helps Liz gather up her stuff and she says, the Sixers is one of my favourite things about school.
Yeah.
And she asks if they take suggestions for articles because she's got a good idea.
Yeah.
Elizabeth could do an article on Lila and Thunder.
And do you know what her reasoning is for suggesting that she does an article on Lila and Thunder? Lila says her reasoning is, your newspaper's never had an article about a horse before. Which I think is like the shittest excuse for something. Like, well, you've never had an article on car exhausts before, so I think you should do an article about car exhausts.
I'm surprised it hasn't had an article about a horse yet, seeing as Elizabeth is so obsessed.
Elizabeth has been obsessed with horses for a week. I'm surprised she hasn't written something about it.
Elizabeth makes excuses. She doesn't really want to do it.
Yeah, she says like, we're busy. We've got other articles that we're working on. We're very busy.
And Lila says, you could come to the stable and meet him. But Liz won't be bribed and she walks away angrily.
Yeah, she says she's got homework to do.
And then for the rest of the day, she walks around school with a...
She's fuming.
It says she walks around with a tortured expression.
Yeah.
Like, calm down. Get some real problems, for God's sake.
Yeah. Like, she literally just, like, storms off. And she almost, like, runs into Betsy Gordon as she's, like, storming off. And Jess has to tell her to, like, be careful. And Liz snaps at Jess. And yeah, it's just crazy. And Jess is like, what on earth is going on? Like, she's got no idea. She's just heading to a unicorn meeting. Mm-hmm. And Liz is just, like, furious.
She tells Jessica what happened. And Jessica says, look, like, Lila's just trying to show off. But Liz's face turns red with anger.
Yeah. She says she will never write an article about Lila's crummy horse.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, we will see about that.
So the next day is Saturday and she's calmed down a bit. She goes to her pine tree to think it over.
Yeah.
And she thinks, well, I shouldn't have been so rude to Lila. Jess comes over and says, I've just been to see Thunder and he's amazing. And I don't even like horses.
Yeah, she does that. She does that thing with like newborn kids, where it's like, I don't normally like kids, but your kid is amazing. It's like, Lila, your horse. Oh, I don't normally like horses, but your horse is amazing.
And she says that Elizabeth should write the article.
Yeah.
And Liz decides that she should do it after all.
Yeah, I think she's like, okay, maybe I was being a bit awful to Lila, and maybe I should be a bit nicer.
So on Monday, she talks to Lila. But she gets angry again when Lila doesn't know what breed Thunder is.
Yeah.
This makes her, like, fuming.
Yeah, she is, like secretly fuming at this. But Lila says, you should come meet Thunder. And Liz says she's got a better idea. She should write the article after all.
Lila's really excited. She says she wants copies of it to send to all of her friends and family. Calm down, it's only the Sixers.
The book says that Lila...
You're not in the New York Times.
Yeah, I know, yeah, it's the Sixers. I mean, for goodness sake. But also, like, she's going to get an article in a 6th grade paper, and the book says, and I quote, she looks like she's won a trip to Tahiti. That's how happy Lila is that this article's going to be published.
But Elizabeth thinks, well, they'll both get what they want. Lila will get the publicity, and she'll get to spend some time with Thunder.
Yes, so to be clear, this early on, less than 20 pages into this book, Liz knows full well she is using Lila for the horse. And she is very honest to herself, at least, about that.
Yeah.
That's all this is about. It's all about Thunder.
She even thinks after the article, she'll just never have to talk to Lila again.
Yeah, she's just going to ditch her.
So she waits for Lila after school, and Lila's 20 minutes late because she's been doing her hair.
Yeah, this is normal, and Jessica is always 20 minutes late. They're always like that. That's normal. But of course, Liz doesn't have this because Amy normally is punctual.
Mm. And Lila says she doesn't know why she bothers doing her hair anyway for those awful stable boys.
Yeah.
At the stables, Lila complains about the smell, but Liz loves it.
Yeah, Liz is like, this is the best thing ever.
They're greeted by a pimply high school boy called George, who goes to get Thunder.
Poor George. George. Poor George. The creepy stable boy. He's high school age. And introduces himself to Liz. And Lila is just immediately a bitch to him.
Yeah, Lila crosses her eyes, holds her nose, and sticks 2 fingers into her mouth.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. In school, people used to be like...
Yeah. She's like,
no one can see me, but I'm sticking 2 fingers down my throat.
She does that a lot behind the stable people's back in this book, like all the time. She's like mocking them behind them.
We always used to do that in school.
Well, there you go. It's quite realistic.
I might bring it back.
Yeah.
So, where are we? Yeah, Liz can't believe how amazing Thunder is.
Yeah.
His coat glowed like the embers of an open fire, and his steady brown eyes seemed to peer into her soul.
She she looks at Thunder, and she looks at him, and he looks at her apparently as if to say, yes, you're the one.
Oh my god, she's such a narcissist.
She's awful.
All about her. Yeah, she can hardly breathe when she looks at him.
Yeah, she's like struggling to. She's having like an anxiety attack or something. It's like, what's wrong with you?
These feelings are going a bit far.
Yeah, it goes.
It's getting weird.
Wait until the end of the book, when Liz literally thinks that the horse can understand her English and is like nodding along with her and agreeing with her.
Hey, I think that about my cat.
This is a horse she's known for a day.
But anyway, when Lila says she can ride him, like, she just practically wets her pants.
Yeah, she just cannot believe it. And of course, Lila's like, oh, I've got some spare riding clothes that you can borrow.
Oh, God, I love these. So she borrows Lila's spare riding clothes, a Stetson, a wool chalice shirt with a matching silk bandana, riding pants, a belt with a mother-of-pearl buckle, a buckskin vest, shotgun chaps, and custom-made calfskin boots.
Brilliant.
Now, I have no idea what most of that is.
It sounds amazing,
having
though,
never had anything to do with horses in my life, but it sounds a lot.
It does sound like a lot.
Sounds like a hell of an outfit.
Yeah, it really does. And Liz notes they've barely been used. Any of it.
I want a belt with a mother-of-pearl buckle.
Okay, we'll make that happen.
She mounts Thunder, and apparently, after just 1 week of lessons, or even just one lesson...
She's just perfect.
She's a natural. George says she's a pro.
Yeah, and then Lila basically tells him to fuck off.
She's just had her first lesson.
Yeah, I know. She's like, wow, you're so good at this, Liz. And it's like, yeah, like at best, she's going to be... Well, I don't know. What can you do with a horse when you've literally just one lesson? I can't imagine she's that good. Unless she's literally like this much of a natural.
It's a special connection that they've got.
Yeah, well, he does nod at her and agree with what she says, so...
Back at Lila's house, even Lila says she hasn't seen anybody else ride him as well as Elizabeth did.
We'll have to take the book's word for it. She's amazing with this horse. Fair enough. Yeah.
She says Melissa rode him like a limp dish rag.
Oh, by the way, George does... mention that he and his family are moving away at the end of the week, so there's going to be a new stable boy, and I've actually put a note at this point when I was reading through the book. I wonder if he'll be hot.
Well, we will see.
We'll see, won't we?
And then Lila starts slagging off Mary's dress.
Oh yeah,
she wore to school, and Elizabeth tolerates all of this because she wants to be allowed to ride Thunder again.
Yeah.
And Lila says the girls who've asked to ride him are gross.
Some of the grossest people.
And before you know it, we'll have people like Amy Sutton and Lois Waller asking.
Oh my god.
Liz stiffens, and she does remind Lila that Amy is her friend.
But not Lois.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
only
what I've
Amy.
written. I've written, like, oh, she doesn't care about Lois then.
No.
Just Amy. And Lila says, well, Amy is kind of strange.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a fact, to be honest.
She is a little bit. I like Amy, though.
So do I.
In Twins, not in High.
I haven't met her in High yet, have I? So I only know Amy in Twins.
Totally different.
Yeah, and I love this bit because Liz is like absolutely fuming. But then she realises, oh, if I say something now, I might not be able to ride the horse. So I won't stick up for my friend.
Yeah. A week later, everybody's noticed that Elizabeth and Lila are together all the time.
Yes, even the unicorns are gossiping about it now.
Yeah, Jessica gets upset. And she tells the unicorns that it's just because of the article.
Yeah, but they question why does her working on the article mean that they have to walk to and from school together or spend all this time at lunch together?
Later on, Jessica asks Liz to help her with her maths homework, but Elizabeth says that she's already busy helping Lila with her maths homework.
Yeah, and Jess is like, just can't believe that she's going this far.
But she says that Jess can come to Lila's house with her.
Yeah, and obviously Jess agrees.
Mr. Fowler picks the three of them up after school, and Lila tells the twins that she's got a surprise for them.
Yeah.
They get to her house, and when they get home, Lila kicks off because Mrs. Purvis has baked oatmeal and raisin cookies, and she wanted chocolate ones.
Yeah, and like Jess and Liz are both like, these are amazing. Like, we're happy with these. This is fine.
And then Lila eats a shitload of them anyway.
Yeah.
And then she shows them the surprise.
Yes, Thunder is tied up outside. Since Liz is basically going to start doing all of Lila's homework for her, she thought she'd be nice to Liz and bring Thunder to the estate.
Yeah, she says she's going to let Liz groom him. In return for helping her with her homework.
In return for helping me with my homework, I'm going to let you do a job.
Yeah.
But of course Liz is more than happy with this and immediately starts feeding and grooming him anyway.
Yeah.
So
Lila says she just called the stable and told them to drop him off and they're going to pick him up later.
Yeah.
So yeah, Liz is a mug. She thinks this is great. And Lila says, I wish that I knew someone who would groom him every day.
And of course Liz is like, you're looking at her. Here I am.
Yeah, she says it's the least that she can do for Lila's generosity.
Lila's generosity. Whilst you're grooming and feeding her horse and letting her copy your homework. Lila's generosity.
And then when they're doing their homework, Ellen rings the doorbell.
Yes, and Liz is almost immediately... She realises immediately. She's like, Ellen's been invited here so that she could copy the homework after I'd gone.
Yeah, because Lila takes Ellen into the living room and they start whispering.
Yeah.
And it's obvious that Ellen thought Elizabeth would have left.
Gone, yeah. Yeah, they're stuck on some questions, aren't they, I think, which has delayed them.
So Elizabeth is fuming. She storms off outside. The swimming pool looked cold and empty, just the way she felt inside.
Oh, no.
She's so over the top and dramatic in this book when there's not really... She doesn't have any problems.
She's got no problems
There's
in her
no
life.
problem. She didn't have a horse before. She doesn't have a horse now. You know.
Yeah, and also, I mean, her father's already paying for her to have riding lessons.
Yeah.
She's seeing a horse, like, what, weekly?
Yeah.
Right, so it's not even like she needs to see Thunder. Like,
get a grip.
There is
you
no
brat.
problem.
So she thinks she'll go and see Thunder again to cheer herself up.
Yes.
But then she sees a boy untying Thunder.
Yeah. And she screams thief at him.
Yeah.
And do you know what I put?
Jump into conclusions.
I've put... She sees someone in the dark and shouts after them, thief! And then immediately under that I put, this is clearly going to be a stable boy.
Yeah.
Like...
Jessica and Lila rush out in a panic and Elizabeth says she's calling the police.
Yeah.
And the boy's like, I'm from the stable.
Yeah.
I only started working there yesterday.
I love that Lila then has a go at him for scaring her friend.
Yeah.
It's like he was just doing his job.
He introduces himself as Ted Rogers, and Lila says she's going to complain to the stable about him.
Yeah.
And he says, I can't get fired because I'm saving for college.
Yeah.
So we find out he goes to Sweet Valley High, and he knows of Stephen because
Jessica grills him. She's like, do you know Stephen Wakefield?
It seems like Stephen's like some kind of celebrity.
I think he's... I guess he's like Todd Wilkins is in High, where he's like the star basketball player.
So that's why Ted knows him.
Because we had all that stuff with Stephen trying to help Ken.
Oh, yeah.
Little Ken.
So his boss comes over, and his boss is just fine about it, though.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, makes jokes. He's like, oh, you made the girls think you were the masked horse bandit.
Yeah.
And then Lila starts winding him up. She says, well, I'm off to read my sexy stable boy magazine.
Yeah, and she just takes Ellen and, like, is like, bye.
Yeah.
Turns her nose up at them. She is really classist. Like, she hates...
Oh, God, yeah.
She's like, they're so beneath me, these people.
He says to Elizabeth that he'll get her horse into the van.
Yes, and
Liz... And she's pleased. She thinks, he thinks Thunder belongs to me.
Yeah, she's not going to correct him.
Jessica, of course, thinks he's cute because he's a boy.
He's a boy of her age. Or older, actually. He's older, isn't he? So that's what it is. It's the, you know, Jessica. She couldn't bear to date someone that might potentially be even a second younger than her. So now she's found an older boy. Oh my goodness.
So when Ned and Stephen come to pick them up, she says, oh, can we follow the van to the stables and pay a visit?
Yeah, and of course Ned agrees.
Ted and Stephen hit it off, and he says he's seen Stephen playing basketball, but he can't play because he's got a limp.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when they get to the stables, Jessica asks Ted to show her the tack room. She's got no idea what any of it is.
Yeah, she makes a twat of herself.
And she says, I've never seen so much tack.
Yeah.
I don't know what tack is either, by the way.
Nor do I, but I wouldn't have made that comment. I would have just been like, wow, you've got so much equipment in here.
He confesses to her that he's not actually saving for college. He wants to be a horse trainer, and he's saving up to get his own horse. But he thought that didn't really sound very good.
Yeah.
So he lied. And he says he's sorry he scared Liz, because she's so pretty and nice.
Yeah, and then Jess is like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but we're identical twins.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, you look pretty similar. It's like they're identical. He's like, oh, that mole makes all the difference.
Jessica thinks that Elizabeth has already stolen Lila from her, and next she's going to steal Ted as well.
Yeah, and she also wonders if she's supposed to be the ugly duckling, because Ted, of course, says how pretty Liz is.
He notices that she's in a bad mood, and this makes him nervous.
Yeah, he realises he's put his foot in it, and he tries to apologise.
And then he falls backwards into a cage of equipment. And they start giggling, and it gets a bit more relaxed.
Or does it?
Yeah, because then...
Liz appears,
and Jess feels jealous again.
Yeah, Ted's like, oh, we'll be out in a minute, Liz. And Jess just glares at Liz.
And then we skip ahead a few weeks, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think it's a few weeks later. Because it's like, Liz is been in absolute heaven. She's been spending all this time with Thunder.
Yeah, she's been at the stables every single day.
Yeah.
At the stables, she notices a sign about an annual owners contest. And she thinks Thunder would be an easy win. But she knows that Lila won't be interested.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I think it's like it's beginner, intermediate, and advanced equitation and jumping event, contest.
We're told that Elizabeth has become a star at the stables. Everybody thinks Thunder belongs to her, and she hasn't bothered correcting any of them.
Yeah, basically, she's just lying.
And apparently, she's so fucking good that all the stable boys and the staff, come out to watch her on their breaks.
Yeah, she is apparently a complete natural. It's a shame that she wastes this talent and decides to become a rubbish, mediocre writer instead in the future.
And someone asked her if they could buy Thunder.
Yeah.
And she still didn't bother to correct
You think
them.
at that point, you'd be like, yeah,
so it's not like she's just keeping quiet now. She's lying.
She's outright lying, yeah.
she gets to know Ted, and Ted tells her that his mum died in a car crash, and that's how he got his limp.
Yeah, and his dad got head injuries from it, and they had to sell all of the family horses to pay for their medical bills, which is why he's saving up.
It turns out his mum was a famous jockey.
Oh, yes, that's
right. They
right.
had loads of horses.
Yeah, I didn't write her name down because I'm assuming she's made up.
No, I didn't write her name, but Elizabeth has heard of her.
Yeah. Of course, Elizabeth loved horses for a week.
She knows everything about them.
She knows all about horses.
Ted thinks that Elizabeth should enter the contest.
Yeah, because he thinks that it's her horse. And he's like, yeah, of course you should.
And she feels bad for deceiving everybody, but apparently not bad enough
not bad enough to tell the truth. Yeah, exactly. And
she's also fed up of pretending to be friends with Lila. But she thinks, well, it's too late now.
Yeah. I mean, basically, she's made her mind up. She's going to use Lila.
And she thinks that if she entered the contest, nobody would have to know.
Well, I mean, technically, I guess not. Assuming nobody says anything or notices.
So before school the next day, Jessica's put out when she answers the phone and it's Lila asking for Elizabeth.
Yeah. I mean, this,
This bit made me laugh.
Made me laugh as well.
She goes to Liz's room and she literally just whispers through the door, Elizabeth.
Yeah, she's like, technically,
and then just walks off.
You. Yeah, she's like, technically, I did tell you.
And then when Elizabeth wakes up, a few minutes later, luckily, she says to Jess, why is the phone off the hook? And Jessica's like, oh, didn't you hear me call you?
Yeah, Lila's waiting for you.
Didn't you hear me whisper your name through a closed door?
No, of course, Lila will keep other people waiting 20 minutes at school, but nobody keeps Lila Fowler waiting.
No, she's extremely irritated about this. And she's got some questions for Elizabeth about the science project. Of course, that's why she's calling.
Yes, I just, while I'm on the phone to you, about this homework.
But Jessica thinks the unicorns were right. Lila and Liz can't even wait until school starts to talk to one another.
Yeah.
So she leaves for school without even telling Liz, and then she avoids her all day.
Yeah.
Elizabeth catches up with her at lunch, and she tells her to make it quick because she needs to go and look at pictures of Betsy's new boyfriend. Elizabeth has guessed what's wrong, and she explains. She says, look, Lila was only calling about the science project, but Jess does not want to hear it.
No, Jess is like, well, I'm sure you can fix that for her. Bye.
And then it's made even worse when Jessica sees Lila, because Lila's forgotten about their plans to go to the Dairy Burger, and she's made other plans.
Yeah, she's made other plans rather than meeting Jess at the dairy. She also asks Jess if she's noticed Amy Adams' outfit that day. Apparently, it is Polyester City.
Wow.
Yeah, but Jess says no, she hasn't noticed, and she's really clearly upset about the dairy.
She gets really passive aggressive.
Yeah.
She says, "Oh, are you planning on joining the Sixers?"
Yeah, which Lila's like, are you out of your mind? Mm-hmm. I'm using your sister for homework.
And Lila says, look, I'll make it up to you. I'm having a sleepover on Saturday. Another sleepover.
Of course.
And she says, you're the first girl that I'm inviting.
Now remember that, listeners, because all that Lila has promised here is that she's the first person she's inviting, not the only person.
So Jessica feels better then. Later on, Elizabeth gets back from the stable at the Wakefields' house, and Alice says, you're getting later and later.
Yeah, and of course Liz apologises and asks if Jess is home.
And Jessica gasps when she sees Ted in the yard playing basketball with Stephen.
Yeah.
She says, oh my God, my hair and my clothes are all wrong. She rushes upstairs and she puts on a lavender jumpsuit.
Yeah, apparently she thinks to herself she never would have come down looking like Godzilla if she knew Ted was coming.
And then when she gets back downstairs, she acts really surprised to see him.
Yeah, and Stephen, brilliant Stephen, it's like, yeah, some surprise. You always come down smelling like a fruit basket.
Ted says Stephen's teaching him how to play basketball. And Liz is like, oh, that's great. And you're so great on a horse.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you're not too bad yourself. And Jess is like, fucking hell. Like, she's really jealous. Jessica tries to join in with the horse talk, and she lights up when Ted offers her a riding lesson.
Yeah, she's not. The book makes it clear she has no. Even I think the book says she didn't want to take it that far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's not interested in riding a horse at all, but she does like Ted a lot.
And then when Ted offers to help clean up, she says, "Oh, I'll help too."
Yeah, and everyone in the room's just like, what?
And she tells Elizabeth to sit back down.
Yep.
And Liz says, "Well, it's okay, I've got a lot to do anyway, if I'm planning on going to Lila's slumber party at the weekend."
And Jessica is so angry that she throws knives and forks onto the table and in front of everyone just storms upstairs.
Crying.
Now again, like I said, Lila said that Jess was the first person she was inviting. It was pretty obvious to everyone that Liz was probably going to be invited given how close they are at this point.
Mm.
But apparently this game is a shock to Jess. So later, Alice is so worried that she comes upstairs to ask what this is all about.
Yeah, she said, "Everyone downstairs is worried about you." And Jessica says she's never leaving her room ever again as long as Elizabeth's in the house.
Wow.
She explains to Alice that Liz is only pretending to like Lila to see thunder. But Alice just won't listen.
No.
And says, "You've got to share your friends. And Lila and Elizabeth have a common interest. So are you fucking listening?" She said Lila's not into the horse.
Yeah.
You know, they're using each other.
And she also says that Liz hates Lila. She's like, "I know how she feels about Lila. She's using her for the horse." And everything that Jess says here is 100% true.
Mm.
She's absolutely right.
But Alice won't listen, so Jess just nods.
Yeah.
And she thinks, well, they're really just taking advantage of each other.
Yeah.
On Saturday night, they head to the sleepover together. They're carrying identical duffel bags. So
adorable.
Cute. Liz is worried that the party's going to be all unicorns. It's like, well, of course
obviously
it
is. I know. I put a note in here. I was like, what did you think it was going to be? It's obviously going to be all unicorns.
She's not going to invite Amy, is she?
No.
So she gets inside, and she's right.
Yeah.
Kimberly says they've arrived just in time to watch the new frontal lobe video.
Yeah.
That sounds like quite heavy for their taste.
Well, it sounded heavy, yeah, but it says Liz isn't really interested in it, and that it's, quote, "a bunch of skinny men wearing makeup, clutching guitars, and sticking their tongues out for the cameras." So I'm guessing it's like a Kiss kind of band.
Like, Liz, are you a teenager? You know.
She's just the most boring person.
I know. She's so snobby as well.
Yeah.
Like, she's above and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So Betsy squeals that she likes Zeke Paranoia the best. And Lila gives them some homemade cookies because apparently Mrs. Purvis has made the right flavour today.
Oh yeah, she learned her lesson.
She's learnt her lesson after that telling off last
Probably
time.
in solitary confinement for the last week.
Yeah, threatened with her job loss.
Yeah, exactly.
And then another video comes on. It's a bunch of guys with tortured expressions standing on a windy cliff. I want to watch this music channel.
It sounds like every rock music video I've ever seen.
Elizabeth says, "Who are they?" And they all look at her like she's from Mars.
Yeah.
She does sound like, when someone's parents come in, they're like, "Oh, what are you listening to?"
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's that rock and roll music.
Yeah. It's like she's the same age as them.
Yeah, she is she's horrifically out of touch, isn't she?
Tamara can't believe that she's never heard of hyperventilation.
I want to hear hyperventilation.
Yeah. And Elizabeth's really bored when they just carry on watching music videos. And she thinks, well, at least when we head upstairs to the bedroom, things will get more interesting and we can actually have some conversation.
Yeah, because in Liz's head, suddenly, when they go upstairs, the girls from the Unicorn Club are going to want to talk about Shakespeare and writing.
But in Best Friends, she went to a Unicorn Club meeting. But
this is why she's a member in name only.
It was really boring. No, she's not a member in name only. She's not a member.
She's not even a member of.
You're thinking of
Pi
Beta Alpha.
Pi Beta Alpha. Sorry. Yeah. So she's not even a member.
Yeah, I remember when she went to the meeting and she was like, "Oh, this is so boring.
This is awful." Yeah.
So yeah, she's disappointed when they get upstairs and they just gossip and make fun of people. They're making fun of a guy called Lloyd Benson. Tamara says he's so weird that he should date Amy. And Janet says, well, he might think Amy's hair is a mop and dunk her into a bucket. It's stringy.
And then someone says that Amy would probably clobber Lloyd with her hockey stick.
Of course she would. Amy's a hard nut.
Yeah.
Betsy says no guy will ever like Amy.
And Liz, this whole time, is just seething.
And then she angrily tells them all that Amy kissed Ken Matthews at Julie's party last week.
Yeah. And
then,
she immediately regrets it.
Yeah. Because Amy didn't want that to get out.
No, and the room is like in stunned silence, and then I think like Tamara or one of the other unicorns is like, "This is really juicy gossip, Liz," and Liz is like, "Oh no."
She begs them to keep quiet,
but she knows
right.
full well, like she knows that's not going to happen.
She barely sleeps because she's so worried about what she's done, and then when she wakes up the next day, everyone's gone home and it's nearly 12 o'clock.
Yeah, everyone left in the morning. They didn't want to
wake.
Yeah, they didn't want to wake Liz up, and Jess was just like, she can fend for herself. I don't care.
Lila says, "You need to stay so that we can go over the article again." And Elizabeth says, "Look, I've really got to go." And Lila says, "Well, I think I've been very generous with Thunder. Would you like to keep riding him?"
Yeah, so
in
now
she's like, if you leave, you might not be able to.
And Liz falls for it.
Yeah, and she stays.
She's like, yeah, okay. So Liz, later, she sees Amy with Ken.
This is on Monday at school. She bumps into Amy and Ken.
By the way, in if it's not clear, in Twins, Ken, my absolute favourite character.
Ken's my favourite in every series that I've read.
He's like the only nice person.
I'm reading Senior Year at the moment, and I'm loving him in Senior Year.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about some of the stuff. Oh my
yeah.
God, poor Ken.
And I love him in Sweet Valley High as well.
Yeah.
So Elizabeth feels terrible by what she's done. They have a chat about the paper, and Ken says, "How do you find the time for it?" And she's like, "Well..."
Yeah, Ken just starts blowing smoke up her ass, and she's immediately like, "Oh, well, I just want to be such a good writer."
She said, "I just want to be a writer."
Yeah.
And Ken says, "That's incredible."
Love little
Not
Ken.
really.
I just like to think that he's like so sincere. It's like, that blows his mind.
It's not that incredible. And then when Ken leaves, Amy says, "What should I do? Should I mention the kiss to him?"
Do you think he had to use a phone book to kiss her?
Yeah.
Like he had to stand on a phone book.
Stand on a little step.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth doesn't say much.
No, because she's feeling terrible about what she's told the unicorns.
And Amy says, "I'm so lucky to have a friend like you to talk to, because I'd just die if anyone else knew what had happened."
Yeah.
So Elizabeth feels awful. She drags herself through the rest of the day. But she feels better when she gets to the stables and rides on Thunder.
Yeah, it's like any time she's got a problem, as soon as she goes to see Thunder, her problems go away.
And then she goes home and she takes Ted with her again because he's going to go over for dinner again.
He's getting more practice with Stephen, I think, as well, isn't he?
Alice has warned Jessica this time to go easy on the perfume.
Yeah.
But then when she comes down for dinner, Stephen calls her Magnolia Blossom.
Yeah, and he tells her that she might want to put more perfume on because he can still smell his food.
And she says, "Well, at least I don't smell like a locker room."
Ooh.
I've always imagined that Stephen smells.
Yeah, I did as well,
like,
actually.
In my brain, Stephen smells. He's one of those smelly boys.
Smelly boy.
Ted changes the subject and tells them all how Elizabeth should sign up to the owners' competition.
But then Jessica says it.
Yeah, she gleefully lets them know that Elizabeth doesn't own Thunder.
And Elizabeth is mortified.
Well, good.
Yeah, good.
She shouldn't have lied.
She deserved it.
The next day she still feels awful, but she needs to go to the stable to give Thunder his exercise. You don't fucking own him.
I know, you actually are under no
obligation.
obligation. Yeah.
So she sneaks in the stables trying to avoid everybody, because in case word's got out.
Yeah.
And she thinks that
she'd still have every right to be there, even if word's got out.
Yeah.
It's like Lila's
They'd all
told me
think
to
she was
look
a
after
liar,
her.
wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, she is.
She is. And she thinks that Thunder can sense there's something wrong with her.
Oh, I know.
So she pours her heart out to him.
Yeah, she just basically has this full-on... It's like a paragraph of conversation with Thunder.
She says she's a greedy person and a liar. But she doesn't realise that Ted is stood by the door listening to everything.
Yeah, he tells her that things must be pretty desperate if she's talking to a horse.
And now she's even more embarrassed.
Yeah.
He says that Lila gives him the creeps anyway. And also that the owner can nominate a substitute rider for the competition.
Yeah, which I would have thought was really obvious from the start.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be the owner.
So he says she should still enter. He's noticed that Lila never visits on a Friday.
And guess when the competition is?
On a Friday. So Lila would never know. And he says, well, if you feel guilty, you can always give Lila the prize money.
Yeah.
Like, they just take it as a given that she's going to win.
Yeah, it's like, there's no doubt.
It's not even like, oh, you can give her the prize money if you win. It's like, you can give her the prize money.
When you win.
And he says that he doesn't care that she lied because he lied about college as well.
Yes.
So, I don't care that you're a liar because we're both fucking liars.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Makes it okay. 2 wrongs make a right.
One lie is like a real white lie, though. Like, it's just saying that you're saving for college when you're not. It's like, okay.
Yeah, she's kept this lie up for weeks.
And she's lied to many people and deceived many people.
But she says that she'll enter and he agrees to train her.
Yes.
And he says, if you don't win, it'll be the biggest shock of my life. She's so happy at school the next day.
Yeah, this is like made her year.
She keeps letting out loud giggles in the hallways like a deranged person.
Yeah, she's trying to...
people are starting to stare.
Yeah, they're like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. She can't resist telling Amy. And Amy wants to come and cheer her on. And Amy also says, you should keep the prize money for yourself.
Yeah, Amy's like... You just...
I do agree with. Lila doesn't need it.
No, I agree as well. I love Amy in these books. She just doesn't care. She's like, no.
So we get to Friday, competition day.
Yes.
Elizabeth rushes out of school to the stables as soon as the final bell rings.
Mm-hmm.
Amy's at her locker and she notices a crowd of unicorns staring and whispering. So, as usual, she's mouthy.
She's going to confront them, yeah.
And she says, what's so funny? Tamara puckers up her lips into a kiss and they all cackle. It literally says they cackle.
I know.
Like witches. She tells them to grow up, and Tamara says, well, it's hard to be as grown up as Hot Lips Sutton.
Hot Lips Sutton.
Amy tells them they think they're so special, but they're boring to everyone except themselves.
And Lila. Oh, Lila.
Amy says it's not that good to go around talking about boys all the time. And Kimberly says, well, I guess you're way past the stage of just talking about boys.
Yeah.
And Lila says, we know you kissed the midget.
Yeah, that midget, Ken Matthews.
And she also says that Elizabeth told them.
Yeah, and Amy is like in proper denial. She's like, no, she didn't. And they're like, how else would we know?
And then she gets really mad.
Yeah.
She says to Lila, well, you think you're so smart, but you haven't even realised that Elizabeth is entering Thunder into a competition right now.
And she's going to win.
Lila's eyes blazed with anger. She says nobody's entering my horse into a contest.
Yeah, and she storms off with all the unicorns in tow.
And Amy also storms off and heads to the stable to give Liz what for as well.
Yeah.
Liz is in trouble.
Liz is in trouble and it's all her own fault.
So at the stable, Amy gets there first and Elizabeth says she didn't mean to tell the unicorns. You didn't mean to, but you did.
Yeah.
And then they're interrupted by the angry unicorns marching in.
Yeah, Amy does make a point of being fuming about the Ken thing as well. She's like, I can't believe you did this. She's like, tell me you didn't do it. And it's all like over Liz's face.
And Elizabeth is left with no option but to tell the truth.
And this was the one bit I was like, good. Like, Liz actually does stand up to Lila here.
Yeah, she says she's tired of trying to stay on her good side. And Thunder means so much to her, but not enough to keep playing these games. And Thunder deserves a better owner. Yeah,
she says that she loves that horse more than Lila will ever know. But she does, she it's not more important to her than her friends and family.
Mm-hmm. And she says she's dropping out of the contest. But that Lila should enter because Thunder is a winner.
Yeah, and Lila is like stunned. Like, no one ever talks to Lila like this. So she is stunned. But when Liz says he could win, suddenly Lila changes. And she's like, I understand how you feel, Liz. You should ride him. You can ride him. But Liz is having none of it.
Yeah, and she asks, she's like, would my name be on the ribbon?
Yeah.
But yeah, Liz just laughs in her face and walks out with Amy.
Yeah. Amy's really proud of her now. She's completely forgotten that she said all this stuff about Ken and her. She's like, I'm so proud of you, Liz.
They make up and they say, it's a shame that Thunder can't enter. If only they knew someone else who could ride him.
Well, they don't know anyone. There's been no one in this book that's shown that they can ride Thunder. So.
And then Ted walks up behind them.
Oh, yeah, Ted. I forgot about that. Yeah, there's Ted.
So they asked Ted to take Elizabeth's place.
Yes.
But this is so stupid.
I know.
So
this whole bit.
Basically, so they're asking Ted to take the place, so Lila will get the ribbon anyway.
I know.
But the reason that Elizabeth won't ride him is because she doesn't want Lila to get the ribbon.
Yeah.
But now she's just going to get someone else to ride him,
and,
so Lila can have the ribbon anyway.
And not only that, she does that. She storms out because she doesn't want Lila to get the ribbon. Then she sees Ted and she's like, Ted, you should ride Thunder so that he wins. And then she turns around and goes back in and she says to Lila, I've got the best idea ever. And it's like, what is wrong with you? Like, do you want her to get the ribbon or not? Because she's going, like, because now she's like, hey, I'm not going to, because Lila even asks her, she's like, what, are you going to ride him then? And she's like, no, but Ted is. I don't understand this logic at all.
No.
Liz, I don't know
Ted
what you're doing.
says that he'd have to enter Thunder into the advanced event because he's too experienced for the beginner's one.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth's worried. She worries that Thunder's not done any advanced jumps before.
Oh boy.
So there's another lie being told, isn't there?
Yes.
Ted confesses he's been riding Thunder in secret. So basically,
everyone's a fucking liar in this book.
Lila's going to end up with an even better ribbon because she's not going to win the
you're right.
one. She's going to win the fucking advanced one.
Thanks to Liz and Amy.
Yeah.
She's now going to get
Some
an
revenge,
advanced...
Liz. Well done.
Yeah, you taught her.
Ted says Thunder can handle the jumps like a pro. And then he shyly asks if Elizabeth can get Jessica to come. So he does like her. I didn't pick up on that. I thought he didn't like her all the way through this book.
Oh, really? No,
I thought we liked Liz, yeah.
Yeah. He definitely... I guess maybe he... Yeah, no, you're right, actually, because there's a few times in the book where he literally says how beautiful Liz is. Yeah, you're right.
So Elizabeth calls Jess, and Jessica's really confused because she went to a Unicorn Club meeting and nobody showed up.
Yeah, she's like, have they got rid of me? Have I been kicked out of the Unicorns? She just sat in a room on her own, like, they'll be here in a minute.
And Elizabeth says, they're all here. You need to come down ASAP. So Elizabeth watches the beginners event and she thinks none of them are as good as her. Of course
not, Liz.
She's so modest. And then during the intermediate event, Jessica still hasn't arrived, so she goes back to the office and phones her again. And Jessica says that Alice is at work and Ned is with a client, so she can't get there and there's no one to drive her.
Yeah.
Liz goes back and Ted is up with Thunder.
Oh boy.
She can tell that he's crushed that Jessica isn't there.
Yeah.
Because she can see him looking like scanning the crowd for Jess.
She should just let her hair down and pretend to be Jess. Problem solved.
But
hide
then
suddenly...
them
all quick.
Hide your shoulder. But then, suddenly, Jessica comes out of the van.
Yeah.
She's with Ned and another man. She explains that it's Ned's client.
Yeah. And they've both come down.
So he wanted to see his daughter in the beginner's event.
Well, he's too late.
Yeah, what a bad dad.
He'll have to lie. I bet he lies. He's like, yeah, I saw it. It was great. Yeah. You're really good.
Everyone lies.
Yeah.
But Ted is up and Thunder does really well.
Yeah.
But then he refuses a jump.
Oh, no.
Twice. But then he sails over it like a beautiful brown bird.
Yeah.
And he wins.
He hesitates, but he does it in the end and
There's
he
a
wins.
lot of horse description about this event.
Oh, this was pages of
this.
This about 2 pages of this.
We've just summarised it in 2 sentences.
I don't know horse stuff.
No, neither do I.
So I feel uncomfortable saying it. Talking about things. It's like when they did the scuba diving stuff. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that was Christopher Pike, but...
Oh, sorry, not surfing is what I was thinking of. Surfing with Dee Dee.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
I was like, I don't really know surfing, so cool.
So, even Stephen's impressed, apparently.
Yeah.
Ted tells Lila that she has to give Thunder a rub down now. And Lila's like, that's gross. And she asks Elizabeth to do it.
Yeah.
What a cheek. But Ted has a proposition for Lila. He wants to buy Thunder. He's got $700 for a down payment, and he'll pay the rest off month by month.
And Lila says, well, I've been thinking about getting rid of him anyway, so yeah, sure, why not?
She says she's had enough of horses.
The novelty's worn off.
But Ted tells Liz that she can ride Thunder whenever she wants.
And I guess we will see if Liz ever rides him again.
Since she's so obsessed with him.
She's been so obsessed with him. Because I could be wrong. I just feel like this is the kind of thing that's going to be mentioned for maybe 1-2 books max.
Like the ballet.
And then it will be gone. But we'll see. We will see. I would like to point out, though, how awful this whole thing was with Liz. I mean, she was going to do this competition on a Friday, right? And her rationale is it'll be fine because Lila will never know. But it's like, what if you injured the horse? Practicing, training.
Yeah, and you can get consent from the owner, but sure you need some kind of signature.
Yeah, you'd think, right? But then she can just rock up, apparently.
Yeah. And wouldn't that signature need to be from Lila's dad?
Yeah.
Like, would they really take consent from a 12-year-old?
From a 12-year-old, yeah. And you'd think that the stable people would know who they work for.
Yeah. I guess
maybe they think that Mr. Fowler is her father. Yeah. I guess maybe.
Jessica says that maybe she'll take lessons too. Bet she won't.
No.
And then Elizabeth finds a slip of paper in her purse. It's a note to Jessica, a note to her from the beginning of the book from Jessica. So at the beginning of the book, when they were passing notes to each other in class, yeah. And it's a riddle that Jessica's written, and it says on it, "What room does the birch stallion check into when he stays in a chateau?" The bridal suite. I can't even fake a laugh.
Oh, okay.
So then we cut to Elizabeth and Caroline in the Sixers office.
Yes.
A girl walks in. She introduces herself as Sophia Rizzo. Now,
briefly, earlier in the book, Liz did meet Sophia, and she wanted to, or Sophie, she wanted to join the Sixers, and Liz was very dismissive of her because Liz was stressing about Thunder at the time. Yeah.
So Elizabeth does remember her, and Caroline nods at her coldly.
Yeah.
Sophia says, "I'm up for helping out with anything I can." And Elizabeth says, "Great, you can help out with this issue."
And Caroline's just sat in the corner like, oh boy.
And then they're interrupted by a deep voice asking Sophia what's taking her so long.
Yeah.
It belongs to a rough-looking older boy with long, stringy hair. He's a male, Amy. And Sophia looks embarrassed and explains that he's her brother.
Yeah.
And that their mother makes him walk her home from school.
Mm-hmm.
So when she leaves, Caroline says she can't believe Liz let her join the paper.
Yeah.
Because her whole family is screwed up. She has no father. She lives in the worst part of town. Obviously, she must live by Betsy Martin then.
Maybe they live in the same house, and after they moved out, the Martins moved in.
And also, her brother isn't just ugly; he's also dangerous.
Dangerous.
As if being ugly wasn't bad enough. He's dangerous as well.
Not going to elaborate on that. He's just dangerous.
Yeah. Well, they do elaborate.
Oh, do they?
Caroline says that he broke into somebody's house and stole a VCR.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
And Elizabeth worries that trouble is brewing.
Yes, and that, of course, leads us into the next book.
Has Elizabeth made a big mistake, or can she trust Sophia? Find out in number 9, Against the Rules.
Oh dear. I have a feeling that she'll turn out to be nice.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think that Liz will be judgy most of the book, and then realise at the end she's actually quite nice.
She's going to be really patronising, isn't she?
I think so.
Like she was with Annie in Sweet Valley High when she went round to her house and tried to help her.
Yeah.
Not be a slut anymore.
And and as we learned in Sweet Valley High, Love Letters, our last Sweet Valley High episode on Kelly's, Caroline Pierce is almost always wrong about her rumours.
Yeah.
So I'm not giving this much credence.
Mm-hmm. The last Twins book we did was Three's a Crowd.
It was indeed. Good old Mary.
We spoke about slouch socks. Claire PH said it was super fashionable to wear white slouch socks over black tights in their school.
Oh, okay.
She also wanted to know, is the sound at around 59 minutes some interference, or did one of us fart?
I don't know. I'm going to have to go listen to it.
I listened to it back. It was you farted.
I don't think I did.
No, it was some interference.
It was either it might have been interference or maybe me shuffling about my seat.
No, it was some interference. So
Okay.
yeah, sorry about that. I said to her that I don't fart, so it clearly wasn't me.
No, women don't fart. That's a
No.
fact. Science.
And Waterwell also had slouch socks. She loved them and she layered them. So
Oh,
she wore
okay.
several pairs.
So you would have been like big with the unicorns. And what's her
Yeah.
name? What was her name? The shop owner.
Diana Diamond.
Diana Diamond.
Oh, she was the pop star. Sorry. The shop owner was Gretchen.
Gretchen something,
Gretchen
wasn't it?
something,
Yeah.
Cressida was really looking forward to this episode because she loves ponies and loves horses.
Oh, okay.
She loves them so much that she's an author and she's written a middle grade pony adventure and boarding school series
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
called Raven's Bay.
I will try and find it, and if I can, I will put a link to it in the description.
Yeah, so I think there's 3 she's written so far, and you can buy them on Amazon. You can find her Instagram at Cressida Burton Books.
Great, yeah, I will
check them out if you want more horse stuff.
Yeah, check them out, and I'll try and put a link in the description if we can find it for the books.
But yeah, she loves horse books, and she says she used to have this book a long time ago, but all she can remember is that Lila had a horse and that Liz was unhinged.
Yeah, Liz is definitely
That's pretty much the summary
That's
of the
the
story.
plot. Yeah,
That's all you need to
that's
know.
actually the plot of this book.
So next week, we're going to be back with our
Kelly's.
final normal Kellys of the year.
Yes, of course. Christmas is nearly upon us. So yeah, we're back with Kelly's, and I don't know what the book is called, but I know what it's about, and I'm very excited.
The book is called I've forgotten myself now.
Rapey Bruce Patman.
The book is called Head Over Heels.
Head Over Heels.
Yeah, so we'll be back with that next week before our Christmas episode, which will be announcing shortly.
Yeah.
And then the week after, we'll be back with our final Casey's episode of the year, aside from the Christmas one.
Yes.
See what Sophia Rizzo is all about.
We'll see what Sophie is all about. I'm going to say now, having never read it, I feel like Sophia will end up being lovely and misunderstood.
Yeah, definitely.
Because she's poor, and therefore everyone's decided she's rough and
I
horrible.
think Sophia's going to steal Liz's typewriter from the Sixers office.
Do you reckon?
She's going to cause
Oh my
mayhem.
God.
She's gonna ruin their life. She's going to steal from their house.
Damn.
You know, runs in a family.
Yeah, well, maybe.
No, I don't think that at all. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think she's going to have a heart of gold. She'll end up stealing all of their hearts.
Yeah, so follow us on Instagram at Kelly's Roadhouse and Facebook, Kelly's Roadhouse Podcast.
And keep your comments coming in. We
Yeah.
love all the comments.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes,
Thanks
see
for
you.
listening.
Thank you.
Bye.